My parents told me that it was natural for a child to have an imaginary friend.
It's just your imagination creating a magical friend for you to play with in a fictitious world,
they would say. They warned me, though, to know the difference between imagination and the real world, and never to forget which one was which. Sammy the Clown was my best friend when I was 9 years old. I met him in a small park behind my house one day. It wasn't particularly my favorite day, and I was having a tough time dealing with my parents always fighting, yelling, and screaming. The only thing that helped calm my mind back then was going to that park. One day, I was sitting on the swing trying to loop around like I always did when I first met Sammy. He was funny and goofy, and wanted to play any game I could think of. We spent over an hour that day playing tag and sticks and twigs, a game we created, and throwing the ball around. He told me to meet him at the same park the next day, but told me that we could only play together if I never told anyone else about him. I thought it was a lot more fun to make it secret, so of course I agreed. We played together almost every day that week. He always was there for me, and listened to me tell him my stupid stories and jokes, and even listened to the stories that weren't as much fun. Most of the time we would just stay at the park, but sometimes we went into the woods to play as well. We would play hide and seek and play wrestle, and some other games I didn't think were very fun at first, but Sammy told me I would grow to like them the more we played. I asked Mom one day if it was normal to have a clown as a best friend, and she laughed and asked me who this clown was. I was afraid to tell her about him because I thought for sure he would get mad at ruining our secret and stop coming to play with me. So I told her he was my imaginary friend. She smiled at me and asked me if he was there with us right then, and I told her yes to make her keep smiling. Sammy always had a solution for everything, and it was amazing how well he listened to me. He was the one who finally helped me get rid of my bully at school. He told me to put a couple thumbtacks on his seat and he would stop bothering me for at least a week, so I did. He also told me that I would never get in trouble for it as long as I kept my mouth shut, and he was right about that too. He also helped me stop Millie Ray from teasing me about my pimples all the time. He told me all I had to do was sneak into her home at night and cut off her hair. I found out where she lived the very next night and did it. I would have gotten away with it too. If it weren't for her pesky brother who saw me climb out of her window and ratted me out. I kept my mouth shut as long as I could when my parents got the call from her parents and sat me down to talk to me. I denied everything, but in the end I knew I couldn't hold out any longer. They were yelling and screaming more than usual, more so at each other than me.
Look at what kind of son you raised!
My father would scream, and my mom would cry and yell back at him and then at me. Finally, I couldn't take their yelling anymore, so I told them about Sammy. I told them that he always met me at the park behind our house, and I told them that he was real and not imaginary at all. They were horrified, and my mom started crying a little louder. In less than 20 minutes, there were red and blue lights all around our house and police officers inside of it. They asked me everything about Sammy, and my parents told me I had to tell them everything. I told them about what he looked like and the games we would play. I even told them about the games we would play in the woods because at that point I was scared that the policeman would take me away from my house forever if I lied. The next couple of days were a haze, and there were always blue and red lights coming out to our house and policemen in our kitchen. Then one day, my mom came up to me and told me,
Sammy won't be bothering you anymore.
And that
he's going away for a very long time.
Later that day, I had to go to the police station, and they showed me a man standing in a room in a clown suit that looked a lot like Sammy's. They told me this was the man, and asked me to be sure that it was him. It wasn't Sammy, of course, but I just wanted everything to end, so I told them that it was. That night, I locked myself up in my room and tried to cry myself to sleep. I was sure that I would never see Sammy again because I'd ruined our secret. I was just about to finally go to sleep when I felt a tap on my shoulder. When I looked up, Sammy was sitting on the edge of my bed, smiling like he always did, looking as cheerful as ever. He told me he was sad that I ruined our secret, but he still liked playing with me. I told him what my parents said, and he laughed and asked me if I liked playing with my parents more or with him. Of course I said him. He listened to me and never yelled at me and never screamed anywhere around me like they did. He told me that we could play together again, and that we could play together for always. I just had to put Mommy and Daddy to sleep for a while. When I asked him how long, he said, long enough. We went down to the kitchen, and I grabbed the sleeping stick like Sammy told me. All I had to do was poke my parents with the sleeping stick, and they would go into a long slumber. I was having second thoughts, but Sammy told me,
When they sleep, they will no longer fight with each other, or yell at you, or anyone else. They will be happy once again.
I went into their rooms and was about to do it, when, again, I had second thoughts. I tried to turn around and walk away, but Sammy was standing in the way, and started laughing and dancing, not letting me go through. My mom got out of bed behind me and asked,
Who are you talking to, sweetheart?
And I told her that of course, I was talking to Sammy, who was standing right next to us.
There's no one there, baby. Please tell me what's wrong.
Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my dad waking up from his bed, and I knew a fight was coming. I knew they'd yell at me, and even worse, yell at Sammy. So as quickly as I could, I poked them both with the magic stick. And I poked them a few more times to make sure they really went to sleep. It felt like a lot of work just so I could keep my best friend, but my parents did tell me it's completely natural to have an imaginary friend. And now, Sammy and I can play together